I know. You're like, Joey, the Xbox Series S and X has always been able to play emulated games. It's been there for a while, so there's nothing new. But something changed this month. Microsoft is now allowing free dev accounts. That means the previous barrier to entry was paying $20 for a dev account so that you could do all sorts of emulation on your Xbox Series S or X. Now it's free, so there's no more barrier. Do you want to play all of your favorite retro systems? The old ones, like Game Boys, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, all of that. You can. Do you want to play GameCube and Wii games? Guess what? You can. How about some PlayStation 2 games? Yeah, we can do that too. God help me, you can even emulate Xbox 360 games if you want to. So today, let's talk about how you can turn your Xbox Series S or X into an emulation box. And the beauty of this is you are not limited to one or the other. You can swap easily between normal Xbox mode and dev mode, where you would run all of the emulators, and there's no downsides to this. So even if you're on the fence about this, you can just do it without any downsides. Now, as for what you actually need for today's video, you are of course going to need an Xbox Series S or X. And honestly, you could just walk into GameStop and just say, hey, I'm here for a Series S, and they just give it to you. They're free at this point. I'm mostly kidding, but they are giving them away. So you can find cheap Xbox Series S's, Facebook Marketplace, GameStop, wherever. They're pretty easy to get. But you're also going to need a USB drive or a portable SSD or an external drive or even just an SD card and an SD card reader. It is really your call. There are links in the description to a few different options, but the general idea is you need some sort of external storage that connects via USB-A to the Xbox Series S or X, and that's going to be where all of your everything lives for data when it comes to the emulators. Lastly, you will need a Windows PC for today's guide. So to start, we need to get dev mode installed. From the Xbox home screen, search for the dev mode app using Y, and you should see the green Xbox dev mode. Install it. Launch the app and then click Next. Then Next again. Jump onto your computer and type in the address that you see on screen. Log in with your Xbox account. You will now be at the Microsoft Partner Center home screen. Go ahead and open a new tab, and this time you want to head to the storedeveloper.microsoft.com/onboarding website. All of this is in the description in case you need it. Now, again, thanks to this month's change, developer accounts are now free, so there is no cost for you to do this. It used to cost $20, no more, all free. Choose Individual Developer and click Continue. Log in with your Xbox email account. You will now need to verify yourself, like I did. I had to take a picture of my ID, take a selfie, all that fun stuff. It's just to set yourself up as a developer. Then just fill out your profile information, your publisher display name, and then that could be whatever you want. I have mine as Joey's Retro Handhelds, but put whatever you want there. Then you're all done, and you can click Go to Partner Center Dashboard. Now that we've done all of that, once again, copy and paste that address that we saw on the Xbox screen. You should be on the Manage Xbox Devices screen. Click the plus icon on the right, and then add the code that you have on your Xbox's screen. You might need to click Get New Code or come back to that page if it's been a while since you opened it. You will know that you did it correctly because you will see your Xbox there on the website. And also, your Xbox will now have a different screen up. So if we head back to that Xbox, you should see a switch to developer mode. So click Switch and restart. When that's all done, you will see an entirely new screen, and this is the dev mode homepage. Now, if you are somebody who is on Wi-Fi or uses Wi-Fi, head over to Settings, Launch Settings, General, Network Settings, and set up your wireless network and connect to your Wi-Fi. Ethernet users, you are fine. You should have internet automatically. Head back to Home, and we need to add our test account. Click Add Existing, and then log in with your Xbox account. I had to sign in using my controller after, since I have 2FA on, so there might be a few extra steps for you. If you did it correctly, you should see it on the home screen afterwards. Next up, head to Remote Access Settings and make sure that both checkboxes are enabled and give it a username and password for the authentication. We are going to use this to install apps remotely, so make sure that you do this and then close out. Okay, we now need to format our USB drive or portable SSD or external drive or whatever you are going to be using to store all of your data on. Connect your USB drive to your PC, then right-click it in the File Explorer and select Format. Now, just a reminder, Format will completely wipe whatever drive this is, so make sure that you've backed up if there is anything on it before. Choose NTFS as the file system, call it Xbox as the volume label, and then click Start. When that is done, head into your File Explorer again and right-click your new USB drive, then select Properties. Head to the Security tab, go to Advanced, Add, select Principal, Advanced, Find Now, then select all application packages and click OK. Then OK again, and enable the full control box, then click OK. And enable replace all child object permission entries, and then click OK again. You're going to get an error, just click Continue and OK to anything, and then you'll be done. Okay, so now while we're here, head into that USB that we just formatted and create a folder called Games. This is where you're going to put all of your games or ROMs. So I would suggest creating folders for each system, like GB for Game Boy, GBA for Game Boy Advance, GC for GameCube, Wii for Wii, and so on and so on. The names don't actually matter, whatever helps you remember what they are. Then, inside of each of those folders, you want to put your games for that system. So you would put Game Boy Advance games in GBA, GameCube games in GC, and so on. For whatever games you have, throw them in and make sure it's all nice and organized. You can see what mine looks like on screen, and it's just basically what I told you. You have system folders. Inside of that, there's games. That's it. Super easy. You are also going to need BIOS files for disk-based systems like PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, all of those, and you need to move those to the right spots afterwards, but just make sure that you put them on the drive for now. Now, if you are staring blankly at the screen because you don't know what ROMs are, you don't know what BIOS files are, I have videos on both of those subjects. It's outside of today's guide. You have to kind of know what ROMs are, which are games, and BIOS files for how to set up disk-based systems, and that I have entire videos on to help you, and then you can come back. It would take too long to explain all of that, as well as where to find them and all of that for today's video. Once you are done moving all of your games and BIOS files over, head to the root of the SD card, and again, create a folder called Dolphin this time. And we are going to use this to store the Dolphin emulators information, which we use for GameCube and Wii. Do the same thing on the root of the SD card and create a folder called Xenia for Xenia Canary, which is the Xbox 360 emulator. Once again, do the same thing for XBSX2, which is the PS2 emulator. Then go inside of that XBSX2 folder, and you want to create the following folders: BIOS, Cheats, Game Settings, States, and Memory Cards. You can now copy your PlayStation 2 BIOS files to this specific BIOS folder. Throw them inside of there because you're going to need them later. You won't be able to play any PlayStation 2 games without BIOS files, so make sure you do this. Then head back to the root of the SD card again, and you want to create a RetroArch folder. And inside of that RetroArch folder, create the following folders: Cheats, Config, Saves, States, and System. Now for this, you want to copy all of your BIOS files for PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, and so on, and throw them into the System folder for RetroArch. That is where they go, and you will need them, especially for PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, and anything else you plan on using RetroArch for, which we'll talk about later. Safely eject the USB drive when you're done with it, and now you can pop it into your Xbox. Just connect it via the USB-A. You should get a pop-up asking to use for media or for games. Make sure you select media. Do not select use for games. Now make note of the remote access IP address on the right side, and you want to type that URL into your Windows PC browser. You now need to sign in using that username and password that we set up earlier for remote access. Now you're going to see the Xbox device portal. We can now add some things. Head over to the Xbox Dev Store website, which is xboxdevstore.github.io, and you want to scroll down to Emulators. You can now see a list of emulators that we can install if we want. Scroll down to RetroArch Xbox Series, and then click Download App. Feel free to scroll down and download any other emulators as well. For example, we want Dolphin for GameCube and Wii, so click Download App for that as well. PPSSPP for PSP games, Xenia Canary for Xbox 360 emulation, XBSX2 for PS2 emulation, and that's kind of it for today. Head back to the Xbox device portal website, and under My Games and Apps, click Add. Now start one by one with the files we just downloaded. Install them. So do RetroArch first, click Next and Start, then click Done, and then repeat for all the other emulators that we have. So you're going to do this about 4 or 5 times. Once you have done all of that, head back to your actual Xbox, and you're going to see all of those emulators that we just installed under Games and Apps on the home screen. What you need to do now is push the back button on the controller when you are highlighting one of the emulators, click View Details, change App to Game. Repeat this for every single emulator. Do not miss this step. Okay, so now click RetroArch to open it. Head to Online Updater and choose Update Core Info Files, Update Assets, Update Controller Profiles, Update Cheats, Update Databases, Update Overlays, and Update Slang Shaders. Wait until all of them are done, and you will know they are done because the bottom left will disappear. Head back, and now head into Settings, and then Directory. We need to change some things over to save to the USB drive so that we don't lose anything. So select the System BIOS folder, and then click Parent Directory until you see all of the drives. Head to the E drive, which should be your USB drive, find the RetroArch folder that we made earlier, and then select the System folder, and then select Use this directory. For save files, it is the exact same scenario, except in the RetroArch folder, select Saves as the folder. For save states, same thing, except in the RetroArch folder, select the States folder. Do not touch the core directory or you will screw things up. Leave that one alone. For configuration files, exact same thing again, RetroArch folder, select the config folder. For cheat files, same thing, RetroArch folder, select cheats. Back out to the main menu, configuration file, save current configuration. Now, if you just want to boot a game and start playing, click Load Content from the main menu, navigate to the game that is on your USB drive. Once again, it is the E drive, then the Games folder, and whatever system folder that you want, and then click the game, and you will have to select the core to use to load the game. Now, here is my recommended cores that you should use for each system, just to help you out. I'm just going to leave this up on screen for a few seconds. That way you can just copy and paste it if you need to, and throw it wherever you need to remember. But once you select the core, the game will load, and you can now play some games. Controls are all set up already, and they should be working, but hotkeys are not set up, achievements are not set up, and there's a lot more that you can do in RetroArch. So I have a guide in the description all about RetroArch if you want to go further to understand how it all works, as well as set up hotkeys and all of that fun stuff. Now to exit a game, use Start plus Select to get to the RetroArch menu, then close content and quit at the bottom to exit RetroArch. Let's go ahead and set up Dolphin next. So launch Dolphin. Press the Start button on your device to get to Settings. Head over to Paths, and then set Dolphin user folder location. And you want to select the Dolphin folder that we created earlier that is on the root of the SD card. Then you want to click Add Game Path and choose the location on your drive that has your GameCube games. Then click Add Game Path again and choose the location on your drive that has your Wii games. Back out and push Start to get back to the main screen. It might take a few seconds for this to load. You can now just pick a game and start playing. If you find that the menu is too slow, use X to change it to a list view, which I found helps a lot. Now, like RetroArch, at this point, you can follow my Dolphin setup guide because there is a lot more you can do with Dolphin at this point if you want, but otherwise, you are pretty much well set up to just start playing some games. You can use the Xbox guide button and then quit to exit the app. Let's do PPSSPP next for PlayStation Portable. Open it, and it is going to ask you where to store settings. Make sure that you create or choose a PSP folder, and then you want to create a PPSSPP folder right on the root of your SD card and then select it. Then click OK. Go ahead and click Browse, and then navigate to your PSP ROMs folder, wherever you have your PSP games stored. You should now see all of your games populate and loaded, and you can go ahead and click any game you want to start playing. When you're in-game, you can use L2 to open the in-game menu, and you can exit the game whenever you want using the exit button on the right. Same as before, I have a full PlayStation Portable guide in the description in case you want to go further with it. Next up is Xenia Canary for Xbox 360 games. Open it and then select Paths and then click Set Config Folders Path. And you want to set it to the Xenia folder that we created earlier that is on the E drive. Now click Add Path, and this time you want to navigate to where you put your Xbox 360 games. Now it is important to note, you cannot have ISO file types for the Xbox 360 games. They won't work. There is an ISO to ZAR converter that is pinned on the dev of this emulator's Discord, and I had to personally use that to get my games to work. This will be in the description as well. Once you do convert your games to ZAR, if you head to the game list, you can boot up a game and start playing. To exit, use the guide button and then quit. Lastly, we have XBSX2, which is our PS2 games emulator. Open it and head to Settings, then BIOS Settings. Change the search directory to the E drive, XBSX2, and the BIOS folder, which from earlier should have your PS2 BIOS files. You will know that they work because they will show up in the BIOS selection. You should see them there, but leave it as automatic. Next, head to Folder Settings, and like RetroArch, we need to change the folder locations of a few things. For Save States directory, navigate to your E drive, XBSX2, States folder. For Game Settings directory, navigate to your E drive, XBSX2, Game Settings folder. For Cheats directory, navigate to your E drive, XBSX2, Cheats folder. Next, head to the Memory Card Settings tab, and you want to change the memory card directory. Navigate to your E drive, XBSX2, Memory Cards folder. Go ahead and click Create Memory Card. Push Y to get the keyboard to show up, and you want to call it just mem card. Then choose folder and click create. The reason we are doing this is you want a folder-based memory card to never run out of space for your games. So just make sure you follow these steps. Head down to slot 1 and eject the card. Then choose card name and select the mem card that we just created. You can then disable slot 2 if you want, or you can create a mem card 2 with folder again and set it as slot 2. But you don't really need it because all of your games will save to slot 1. Lastly, let's map the controller. So head to the controllers tab, and in controller port 1, select DualShock 2 if it isn't selected already. Then choose automatic mapping and select the controller. Back out and head to game list, push start, choose add search directory, navigate to your E drive, your games folder, and whatever folder has your PS2 games in. Go ahead and select the game to start playing, and off you go. Like the other emulators, I have a full setup guide for PPSSPP, which is pretty much the exact same as XBSX2. And so you could do even more if you want with the emulator, like achievements and texture packs and so much more. So you can check that out if you want. Use L3 plus R3 to get the in-game menu, then close game to exit the game, and then just exit to get back. Now, whenever you want to head back to retail mode for the Xbox, from the home screen, click Leave Dev Mode and make sure that you do not select that checkbox. If you select that checkbox, you will delete everything that we did today. So don't do that. It is by default off, so you'd have to go out of your way to select it. Anyways, once you click OK, you will head back to retail mode and you can enjoy your Xbox like you normally do. When you want to head back to emulation mode or dev mode, just click the dev mode icon and it'll boot you back in. Now, you might have noticed on that Xbox Dev Store website that you can do a lot more than just games. In the media app section, you can install Kodi, Twitch, YouTube, VLC, and more. The app section even has a Moonlight option for all of your streaming needs. And I would suggest that you follow my guide for setting up Apollo on your computer and Moonlight on your device if you plan on going that route. There is also even a front end to easily launch all of your retro games using RetroPass. The game section has a whole bunch of games as well if you want to boot any of those. And that's all we have for you today. Honestly, just want to show you how to get emulation up and running for your Xbox Series S and X. Now you can just go and enjoy some older games and have some fun. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to talk all about retro gaming. Support me through YouTube membership if you like my stuff. And hope you all have a good one.